So I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while and sort of document my journey as I am in the process of moving from the UK to Canada in the very early stages, really. So I am applying through the National Experience Canada route through a working holiday visa. I'm going to try and go through everything. This is really complicated. But basically it means I can live and work in Canada for 2 years. The backstory is that my fiance is Canadian. We both currently work on a cruise ship. We both currently work for Royal Caribbean, hence why I'm in a bunk bed in a tiny little room. But I wanted to kind of document my journey and what we've done so far, and then obviously try and keep it up once we get to Canada and once we move. So I had been researching different routes for me to get to Canada for probably over a year now. It feels like it's been forever. I nearly did it last year, but we ended up staying and doing another contract on the cruise ships. And this year is basically my last year to do it, because the international experience visa for people from the UK at least actually stops at age 30. So you have to be 30 when you apply, sorry. So you can only be 30, you can't be any older than that. And then because I'm 34, I'm not eligible for that, obviously, so I had to go through what is called a recognised organisation, which is basically a company that sponsor you to go through all the process, and they call back you. You have to pay them more money than I would have liked, unfortunately, but that means that you can then apply through the IEC route. I'll probably do more videos as we go into. I'm just trying to do like a brief overview, and then we'll kind of segment off and maybe go into separate things. But so yeah, I put my application into this recognised organisation. I applied for a couple just in case. One didn't work out, and two got back to me actually. A company called Bunak that was the second people to get back to me, and the company I actually went with, which was Go International. I believe they're a little bit more pricey than some of the other recognised organisations, but I mean I need to do it. I need to move to Canada to go and live with my fiance, so we want to have a place together and basically start a life together and actually live on the same continent, because we've not done that, even though we've been together for 3.5 years now. So it has to be done. So I've paid the money to the recognised organisation, and I was given a place. And then the Canada sort of immigration people, IRCC, I believe the acronym is, they contacted me. I put in for the work permit, which if anybody needs any advice, it's don't try and do a visa while you're working on a cruise ship in Australia with limited Wi-Fi. Very challenging, very difficult, super stressful. I'm sure it's stressful if you're just doing it at home, but for me, because they only give you a certain amount of time to enter all your documents, to process everything, you have to upload pictures of your passport, you have to get a police certificate, pictures of that have to be uploaded. So and obviously if you've so the police certificate thing, if you've lived in a country for more than 6 months, you have to have a police certificate. For me, that only applies for the UK. I did have to put a note on that said, because we work on a cruise ship, that obviously I've travelled to lots of places, but I've never been there more than 6 months, even though they wanted addresses for workplaces, and I had to put something for Royal Caribbean, because obviously there isn't an address. We're a cruise ship, we float around all over the place, but the address for the company is America, so it looked like I'd been in America since December 2018, which isn't the case. I've been on multiple ships over that time in various locations of America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand. So I was like trying to explain to them that I didn't need a police certificate for the United States, which I don't. So I had to submit all that, but obviously the UK certificate went to my UK address, which is where I live with my dad when I'm at home. So he received that, so he had to take photos of that and send them to me. I then had to upload that. Very complicated, very stressful, but somehow that all went in. So I finished that work permit application maybe a week or 10 days ago, and literally the day after, they contacted me to make a biometrics appointment, which is an appointment to give your fingerprints and take a photograph of yourself. I've done this once before when we went on holiday to America. They made us do it sort of at customs when we were going through the airport. So I kind of knew what to expect. But then there's a time limit on that too. So the work permit timer has completed, if you want, because I've submitted the application. That doesn't exist anymore. This new timer is for the biometrics. I've only got until the 25th of March, which is kind of 3 and a bit weeks from now. Obviously, because I'm over here, I'm limited to where we can go. I had 3 choices of days in Sydney. Sydney's our home port. We normally dock in normally once every kind of 8 to 10 days. Varies obviously depending what we're doing. Managed to get an appointment for the first day in Sydney, which was yesterday, to be fair. You have to take a couple of letters with you. The letter that the Immigration Canada people send you have to take that. You also have to take there's a consent form that you have to print off as well. And they want your passport, which in a normal world is fine. However, the cruise ship and the HR department on board weren't happy with releasing my passport. So a little bit of backstory: the cruise ships, we have lots of international crew from many different countries. India, Philippines, Indonesia, lots of 17 nationalities around the world work on board. So a lot of them, to stay in places like America or Australia, it's very attractive for them just to take the stuff, limited stuff. They could just go for the backpack and stay there and basically emigrate without using the proper channels. And it's a horrible way of looking at things, but that's the reality for a lot of these cruise ship members, that it does happen. And they just don't want to risk it. So the company didn't want to give me my passport. They gave me a copy, but the biometrics people that I went to see yesterday in Sydney weren't happy with this. So I couldn't do anything, which is a little bit frustrating because it means the timer is going to run out on my biometrics. I have until the 25th of March, as I said. I leave the ship on the 23rd of March. So I need to ask for an extension, which is my next stage. So I'm probably going to wrap up this video, and then I might do another one in between. But the next stage is going to be me booking my next biometrics appointment, which may be in Spain. So my mum lives in Spain, so when I go home, I'm not going to go to the UK. I'm going to go directly to her in Spain and hopefully get an appointment there, and we'll just have to see what happens. But yeah, that's kind of a vague overview of where we're at currently. If anyone's any questions and stuff and you want to put them down in the comments, that's cool. I'll link this in with my TikTok as well. It's the same username, and we'll try and do a kind of dual. I can talk a bit more in depth about things in here. TikTok always feels slightly strained with the 1 minute constraints, but hopefully this journey will continue as we get into Canada and get an apartment and actually start a bit of a life. So thank you for watching if you've come this far, and we'll see what happens. Thanks.